Okay, here we go. Do not adjust your screens. I really am looking this pale today. So I already came to you with my base done. And I did my base much lighter than I normally would because I'm going to be working on a skeleton look. I'm actually using one of our blushes, which is the Juicy Watermelon. You could use, if you have Paparazzi Pink, which is one of the cream lipsticks, it would work amazingly. And you could use the cream brush to blend it out. You could use the blending sponges, especially the new ones, because the size, they're like so tiny, you could really get in there in the crease. So here goes. So I'm going to start right here in the crease. And I'm going to go down into the center, which is much lower than I would normally go. And I'm actually going to bring it out. So what I'm doing is kind of, instead of creating a cat eye with an eyeliner, I'm sort of doing that with my shadow. So I'm giving that kind of look. So I'm really getting in there with some color, and notice my eye closed that I'm not going straight to the lash line. I'm going to come in and do what's called a cut crease. I'm going to put a different shade there. Okay, so we're really kind of building it out. Now what I'm going to do I'm using a cream brush because it gives me that nice fine edge, and so I can actually come right underneath. Now here's the best part about this. You don't have to be super neat because you're going to come in and you're going to clean it all up. So I'm going under with the pink all the way. You don't want to get it in your tear duct though. You do want to be careful of that. So I'm creating basically a line, and again, it's going out. So you see how I'm already kind of creating that look. And I'm going to come in here and around the tear duct, but again, I'm not going to put it in my tear duct. I want to be very careful of that. Now that's a look. Am I right? Okay. So now I'm going to come in with a shadow brush. So this one is meant for the crease. It's got that angle. And I'm going to use Wineberry, which is one of our blushes. I'm using blushes for this because I'm really looking for some powerful pinkish shades that don't necessarily come in eyeshadows, but they do come in blushes. So don't be afraid to use one form of your makeup, maybe uniquely. I mean, you could do this every day, right? You could do this look every day, who knows? But I mean more of, using lipsticks as a cream for your blush, or using powerful pink colors for your eyes instead of just your cheeks. So absolutely, with makeup, anything goes, and you can totally think outside of the box. So I'm applying this Wineberry, which is this really great shade right here. I'm going to put that in the crease. So what I'm doing is building depth and color, so it's not just one shade. Even though this is a Halloween look, I still want it to have depth, right? I don't want it to just be some kind of like overly simplistic look. I want it to have some depth to it. So again, I'm just building. And I'm following that same line that I already created. And I'm not going to worry if it's like, whoa, that's a lot of color, because I'm going for that, right? Creating a skeleton look. Okay, so we're going to blend a little bit. So what I'm going to do is get my fluffy all over brush, and I'm just going to go in and blend. Now here's the deal, ladies. If you hold the brush at the end, and I said this before, but if you hold it at the end, you have no control over it, and you're going to get really fluffy. And if that's what you want, then awesome, do it. But if you want to have control, if you want a tighter blend, then you want to hold it closer to the actual hair particles, right? So you're going to go in there and do short, round, and what that's going to do is really blend it. I'm blending out. I don't want to blend all the way up to the brow. Right? But I'm blending. Now, ironically, I made sure in my foundation and in my base that I took out any color around my eyes because I do have hyperpigmentation, especially right here in the crease. But I'm going to go ahead and put some on the inside. So I'm going to create some dark circle looks in a bit. But the first thing I like to do is make sure that the eyeshadow is set, and that way anything else I add just complements it and it all kind of goes together as opposed to little here and there. Okay, so when I'm looking at it, I feel like it's a little unbalanced. So we're going to go back and just put a little bit more right up here. And that's going to help to balance out the two sides. Okay, so we're going to take our concealer and I'm just going to go right here on the inside. This is just my regular shade of concealer. I'm just going to dot. So I'm bouncing that product. I'm not blending, like smearing. I am just bouncing. And I'm not going to go all the way to the edge. I'm just bouncing it right here, concentrating it in that inside corner. And same thing on the other eye. Now this is actually called a cut crease. And sometimes I think that if you are watching videos on like Instagram or TikTok or things like that, they make it seem really complicated, and it's so easy, you guys. Literally, it's the easiest thing. But I'm also going to put some shine. So I'm going to use, this right here is from our purple and pink duo foil, and I'm going to put the pink. I'm going to use the cream brush, and I'm just going to place it right there on the inner corner. And this you definitely want to place by bouncing that brush down and tapping, because if you can get close, you can see it's going to have real sheen to it as well as color. But what happens when you're using a shimmer, if you're moving the brush, then you're kind of smearing it and it dulls its sparkle. So do not dull its sparkle. Tap it in place so that you do not damage all of the beautiful shimmer that the scientists worked so hard to make for us. Okay. So what I'm doing is I've created like that pop on the lids. Okay, so let's talk brows. Things all over the place. It's really kind of easy peasy. Okay, so what I'm doing here for this look, because I'm going for a skeleton look, I'm just going to put a little bit of the smoky quartz, which that is the more shiny, the sparkly. I'm just giving that in there to give like a sheen, because you know, like a skeleton would have a little sheen. Not really using a lot of this. It's just to kind of bring down the blondness. Now I'm going to go in with Cashmere Haze, which is decidedly more of a gray, and that's going to play up that kind of skeleton look on my skin more. And I'm literally just kind of brushing over my brows, and it's going to give them that more brownish gray sort of look. So if you have hair that's graying and you're kind of going with it, it might be a great alternative for your brows. Just saying. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing over here. So what we're going to do is clean up. This extends way too close to the brow, and it kind of shadows everything down. So we're going to clean that, and we're going to clean over there, and then we're going to clean underneath so it's a nice, like a nice straight line, and then we'll come in and do the under eye part as well. Okay. So what I'm going to do is this is my concealer, by the way. So right at like the midpoint down, and then I'm going to come right in here, up and down, creating like that kind of like a V, a very slim line V. Same thing here. there. And then I don't want to go directly under my eyes because I do want to keep that look. So I'm just going to go here, up. And basically what I'm doing with that is just cleaning. So these are the new mini blending sponges. If you have watched any of my recent tutorials or videos, you know I'm like obsessed with them. And this is why, because it's such a tiny little end. It's totally detail friendly that I can really kind of get in here and bounce that blending sponge and get into really, really tight spaces and clean it up. Do this one here. And again, I'm bouncing because I don't want to drag. When I drag, I'm basically pulling product off, and I don't want to pull the product off. I just want to blend it. And I'm not going to worry about under my eye because I'm going to kind of blend that out there, right? And then in here, I'm using that point to really get that detail and move that in. They're so much cleaner already. Okay, so let's go ahead and do eyeliner. I'm gonna tight line the top. All right, next layer of eyeliner, I'm gonna use the waterproof black liquid liner, which I love because it has this felt tip pen and it lets me control how I wanna go. So I'm gonna do a super quick light line on the top. Okay, that's done. Now we start having some fun. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is start building the cheeks. So for the cheeks, I'm gonna use the same colors that I already used on my eyes. We're trying to keep it simple and not use 100,000 products, right? So I'm gonna use the same two shades, that Juicy Watermelon and the Wineberry. If you use Paparazzi Pink, you'd use the Paparazzi Pink and Wineberry. Basically just two different shades of pink blush that I'm using. And the key for this, so that I can get my detailing, Purple Nova liquid eyeshadow, because purple and pink, they're in the same color family. So what I'm gonna do is build here. I'm gonna go from the corner of my mouth here, or close to it, up and then under and around. So I'm gonna do like a line and then down and up. And that's kind of mimicking that skeletal kind of line. So I'm just gonna go. I can't talk when I do. That's drying. I'm gonna do the nose. So on the nose, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw, and I'm a horrible artist. So you guys, if I can do this, anybody can do this. Just kind of doing a, and then I'm gonna color it in. So I'm coming in with that watermelon, and what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna build most of the color underneath, but I'm gonna come right here on top and outline it. And right now it's gonna look like stripes basically, and I'm okay with that because I'm gonna be blending it in a bit. But this is kind of like, think of it like a highlight. And I already have the line there, so now I'm literally just drawing on top of it. You can wet set. You're gonna use your setting spray and you're gonna spray your brush. I prefer doing it this way as opposed to putting it in the product, just because maybe I don't want everything wet set. Line here that is more clear and defined. And when we go back and really finish the eyes, my blending sponge and use the flat side, I just put the Wineberry. And what I'm gonna do is really squeeze it because I wanna have control. I don't want it all over, but I'm gonna squeeze it tightly and I'm just gonna place that right in here and then underneath and up, because this is basically working as shadow. Cheek brush. So this cheek brush it's kind of angled. And what I'm doing is just blending right in there. I'm going to use it. See how that's starting to really mute? You can still see the line though. So it still gives you that detailed line. And I'm making sure to not just blend this way, but to follow the line of it. Okay, so I'm going to come in with liquid shadow in light beam. And I'm going to use it as an accent. So I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to put it right there in the corner. And literally just there in the little corner. So the very, very inner corner of my eye. And I'm going to tap that. It's going to meld into and add depth to the pink. Right there. Okay. So I want to define under here a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is take foil purple and I'm going to come here on the outside. And it comes up just a little bit. It just gives a little bit of definition. And then, you guys, my hand, by the time I'm like wiping it down, I have like a little bit of everything. And then on the inside again, I'm just going over what's already there. Create a little bit more with the pink. By the way, I have product deliveries that I have to make this afternoon. We're going to do the lips. So the lips. Now, before I did this, I made sure to do the satin lip set, okay? So that's important because you want to have lips that are prepped for it. So I am going to go ahead and wet set this, and I'm using my short brush that just like the one I had used, but this one is clean. I'm going to put all the way around the lips so they look like almost like stitches, or it's basically all the stuff that we try to get rid of on a regular basis, right? Lines around our lips, sagging on the cheeks, dark spots on the nose, all that kind of stuff. We're putting it in. Now, the reason that you want to use like the eyeliner pencil is because it's going to give you a nice, precise, thin line. Okay. Okay, lashes on, ready for my big evening out for Halloween. No. Alrighty, so I'm wearing the Ardell Professional Demi Wispies, which I love. Don't be afraid, by the way, when you're using lashes, to clip them down and customize for your eye shape. If you put lashes on and they're bothering you or you feel like they're kind of poking, they're too long. Easy peasy, just clip them. Okay, if you are not a lash girl and you think there's no way I'm wearing false lashes, I highly recommend Lash Intensity. I actually would recommend 2 layers. So doing the Lash Intensity because it's going to really fill them out and then give length. So it's going to volumize and give length. It's awesome for every day. But if you're really going for that like top, Hollywood sort of glam skeleton, that's what we're calling her, by the way, then you'd want your Lash Intensity and just pop a layer of the Lash Love Panorama on top. Amazing. Amazing. Can't go wrong. Every day, that's what I wear. But it's definitely going to bring those eyelashes out. And with such a dramatic look for your eye, you definitely want to see those lashes. Okay, so pop off your look with a crown or other accessory. and you're ready to go. I hope you ladies enjoyed this tutorial as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. Happy haunting! Mwah!